How much money do you think a guy should make per year?
300K. Everything. 500K?
Mills, shit. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanna rollie for my diamonds. You should have for us, fill my pockets, me and all my friends. You should precious ice for my wrist, so I look better when I'm dancing. Desperate since we'll never stop worshiping. I just want some rollie.
You just want to embarrass me. Not gonna happen, Brian.
Oh, cramp. Oh my god. It's way too early. All I had was water. That's all I had. Oh, okay, that's enough. Oh, shit. That better be good enough. Yes, we found it. Hello again. I'm Jay, and this is whatever. Whatever, yeah. Yeah. Right, yeah. Whatever, yeah. Oh, it's, I'm somewhat familiar. I know these guys. I've seen clips of theirs show up endlessly, right? You go down, you click one video, and then it relates to a bunch of other crap. It's just like, oh, I know who you are. That's what YouTube's like, right? You click on this one video, I understand your identity. Here's a bunch of related material that you clearly want to see, right? So, clicked on a few videos here or there, came across at whatever, yeah, with this guy, Brian, and OnlyFans model number 4,782. If you've seen one of these videos, you've seen all of them. They're just podcasts of, like, a bunch of idiots, like, disagreeing with each other, and they're just wrong about everything. So, like, one guy's wrong about stuff and their backwards values, and they throw it at the other person's like, whoa, that impedes upon my backwards values. How dare you? Screw you. Whatever, you know? Yeah, so we are going to just check out some of their most viewed videos. Just have a bit of a goof and gaff. Have a wee bit of a laugh in it, yeah? Right? And just make fun of a bunch of wealthy people who make money doing, well, a lot of girls at this table make money through porn. A lot of the guys make money on this table through making fun of the girls who do porn. Oh, my traditional masculine values. Oh no, marriage and stupid ass religion. They always bring on the same people. And sometimes they have somebody here or there who's like, oh, okay, this guy actually has like insights, but everyone else is just mindless emotional nonsense. So, we're gonna start with this video. You can't see that. The oppression of the Western woman. I mean, hell, got 2 million views and it's just simply a podcast clip. Dude, these guys are making so much money. Oh man. Like, they can just show up to the studio and like record for like a couple hours with a bunch of people that they're trying to sleep with. And then right there, right, a single day's worth is probably worth like a week or two worth of content. It's crazy what the internet does, right? The internet reflects to us the modern dystopian hellscape we live in, right? If a goddamn 15-year-old could be making 15 grand a month in his mom's basement, what does that say about degrees? What does it say about college? What does it say about getting a job? Come on. It's a joke, right? If that's what it takes to do that, then, you know, what does it say about the standard way of which you're told to go about and live your life, right? Get an education, get a job, and you're good. But if that's not good enough, which it isn't, right? Most people work in multiple jobs. Okay, we're trailing. I'm already, all right. So, we'll start with this video, and I'm just gonna probably pause every 2 goddamn seconds and point out what's wrong. This is not what people are saying, because everyone's wrong. Everyone's just mindless.
Show, the big spat that you had with John was about oppression. And you said you got quite...
Yeah, because I already know what you're gonna ask me, and I'm just gonna tell you this now.
Hold on.
Google.
Oh,
You can look
Google.
up Google.
Oh, Google.
But it's not my job to school you on something that you should have learned in school. Women have been oppressed, and women still are oppressed.
Immediately with the petty. Oh, Google! That'll tell me the answer. Google. Okay. Okay. Let me start immediately by saying this. I'm not taking anyone's side on this. Everyone here is dumb. Like all of them. So if you think I'm batting for one team over the other, I think all humans are mindless animals. Doesn't matter if you have a wiener or a clam, your life's still just as worthless as the next guy. All of us are equally worthless, right? We are living in this empty cosmic expanse, in a different reality where just random crap happens, right? So just because you have more money, just because you look better, just because you do this or that, it's like, in the end, we all die. So what, you have like 80, 90 years, and then you die, and then maybe like another 100 years and you're forgotten? Well, even people like, history tends to hold on to the worst people, right? Do you remember any of Genghis Khan's concubines? Of course not. You remember Genghis, though, and his explosive seed, despite being an absolute monster.
Because there are literal
go.
child slaves, there are black women, disabled women that experience oppression all the time, and Native American women as well.
Huh?
And
Native American women.
It's also Native American men as well. Aren't they oppressed?
I'm talking about women right now.
But, you're talking about women?
There you go, right there. That's more than enough for you to know where their leanings lie, right? Because what they do say, yes, oppression, but like they want to narrow it down to a very specified demographic in order for their rhetoric to, resonate, within the social zeitgeist. Realistically, the answer is if you're poor, you're oppressed. Like, we have, out of everything that you could be faced with, your class in society has the most effect on your overall autonomy, over your overall sense of being an individual, because that's the only thing that matters to people. It's money, right? Doesn't matter what skin color you have, doesn't matter what gender you are, does not matter where you're from. If you have money, then that's it. That's the defining factor of what determines whether or not you're oppressed in life. If you don't have money, you got to do the same crap everyone else does, right? Get a job, get exploited, get underpaid, get told that, you deserve that despite all of that, hard work, how you work harder than all the people who you're making even more and more passive income for. See, when people do this, it redirects. It's like, oh, let me just take away well, granted, even if this lady wasn't spewing a bunch of nonsense, like the people on the other side of the table aren't going to give you anything better. You guys greeting me? We're talking about the oppression of women. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. You're gonna squeak that like no other. But, yeah, even if this person wasn't saying this mindless nonsense, on the other side of the table, you just get mindless nonsense. And, listen, check this out. I haven't even seen this clip. When I come across video clips, I'm sort of just like, I watch the first minute or so, and if I already have crap to say about it, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna save this for later. But we'll see. What I'm saying shall ring true in these upcoming minutes. Yeah,
because the question was how women have been oppressed, and I'm just gonna say it's not my job to educate you and school you on that. And if you don't know,
if I reject,
but he asked you, if someone's asking you a question on something and they want your knowledge, and you can't explain it, and you get defensive over whether or not you want to explain it, then it's like you're not the guy. You're not knowledgeable. If you go to school and your teacher's teaching you something and you ask them a question, they get offended, and related to the thing that they're teaching you, and they get offended because they just don't want to explain or they don't want to give you more in context. It's like, then why are you here teaching? You're supposed to let us know things if this is the thing that you're trying to get us to know, but you're just like, nah, there's only you should know the answer already. I shouldn't have to explain it to you, even though I'm the one trying to make a contention. I'm the one trying to make an argument. Dude, no. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're gonna squeak right in front of the YouTubes? Nobody squeaks.
your presuppositions, then you do need to explain to me.
No, I'm telling you this. I'm like...
I like that awkward pause. He's right, though. He used a bunch of big old words to come off. He's essentially saying, if you're going to make an argument, then explain it, right?
I'm telling you, it's not my job to school you. You should have learned this in school. And honestly, it's a little scary that you don't know how women have been oppressed in the past because...
Oh, it's debate tactics. Okay. It's a way to make it so that they don't actually have to, they're trying to flip the frame of the entire argument in a way to make it seem as if it's accusatory or attacking, right? It's to try to play on people's emotions. Very emotional arguments, right? We'll see if somebody actually gets to a point, right? I would like to talk about that point eventually. I just want somebody to bring it up. They already brought it up. Should I address it? Did I already address it? It's more so money, right? I did address that. Yeah. If you're poor, you're oppressed. That's about it. That's kind of the determining factor. What the determining factor in what determines whether or not you're oppressed. It's how much money you have. That's the world humans built. You guys are eating garbage. There's no garbage on the floor. How'd you get garbage?
Because, like, this country was, like, built for men, and these, like, laws and rules, like,
Erroneous.
They all...
Erroneous.
Not erroneous. That's true. America was made for rich white men. Like, the founding fathers were a bunch of rich frat boys who wanted the freedom to own slaves and avoid taxes. America is a corporate experiment. The first thing those founding fathers did was they went around collecting people's money, right? Because it's a government. We need your money, guys, in order to defend us against the tyranny of the Brits, right? They are absolutely right about this. And I hate that goddamn soundboard. Shut that crap off. It's just reactionary crap. Like, you should be the one reacting and then explaining instead of just using a meme. Erroneous! Erroneous! The fact that we live in a corporate empire that enslaves and legitimately oppresses people who have, like, no money, right? Now, granted, demographic does have an effect on, like, how severe that, oppression can be, right? Right? Segregation, redlining, gentrification, all these, redlining still exists. America is intrinsically racist and prejudiced. I mean, if you go anywhere all around the world, it's kind of the case, right? She's not wrong about that. So, and turn off your stupid ass soundboard.
It's all to, like, for men, like, it was built for men.
I get the point you're trying to make. You're just not intelligent enough to articulate it. Which is the point. That's why they got you on this podcast. It's so it makes them and their views look better at your expense, and also gets the audience to sort of just crowd around them and just, oh, whatever, whatever.
And, like, this podcast enough is showing me that sexism is still really alive.
Can I ask you?
Oh, wow. You think this podcast is sexist?
Yeah. It is sexist. What do you think is that the point is to bring on specifically a demographic of women so that you could talk about certain things that specifically pertain to the thing that they do, and it's always about that. You always bring on the same right-wing losers to regurgitate the same backwards, mindless, archaic values. It is sexism. Especially some of the, the people you're inviting on are rather sexist. Like, you're all prejudiced, all of you. You all have your own specific biases and leanings, and like, you're all pick a tribe to be a part of and, like, live your life through. When all reality, you all just get it wrong, all of you.
I was posted on so many red pill incel accounts. Yes, it's giving incel a lot.
Oh, man. Okay, all the buzzwords are coming out. I don't even know where to start tackling this. Okay, so women were oppressed in history, but so were men. It's not
as much as women were.
This is interesting.
That's true. Both men and women are oppressed, and it's usually based on class, right? You notice how when that argument is brought up, like, those two demographics, right? They tend to they just look at that. They just ignore everything else. Yes, men and women were and still are oppressed, right? It's all...
Because if I say, how were women were oppressed? You're like, well, it's self-evident, Brian.
All right. Examples on how women were oppressed. You go to the Middle East, you get, right, their backwards, archaic religious values. Women, that's like, granted, there are patriarchies all around the world. Everything's male-dominated for the most part, right? But I've noticed in America, they have kind of like I don't like using, I'm not part of these people, but America has, like, it's a patriarchy, right? It's mainly male, but there was this sort of radical feminist retaliation to the status, like the patriarchal status quo, and I think that's what we're seeing, right? The entitlement, the arrogance, the going a bunch in the other way. It's weird. It's just oppression Olympics. Who had it worse? When in all reality, it's like it kind of just pertains to the individual. You can try to understand things with broad strokes, but at the end of the day, it's like there are examples of women who end up becoming very successful, living their own autonomous lives. Same as men. There's regardless of skin color or, where you are. It always pertains to class. That's always the determining factor, what I've noticed. But yeah, men were oppressed as in ways of like, you know, they get drafted and go die for your stupid ass country's backwards values. You're expected to do a bunch of mindless crap for other people because you're a dude. Women, they're seen as exactly the same way, but in a different light, right? You still have to fulfill a role. You still have to do all these things that we expect from you. You go back and how women can even vote, right? In the 1800s, whether could black. I mean, it's crazy. It's like if you bring up any of these conversation topics, any of these arguments, like you're just gonna see how poorly people treat each other all throughout history. It's always the same thing. It's just funny to see how they try to like rank and do stuff like, okay, now we have to determine who's up here and who's down here so that this person up here could always just keep shitting on this person down here. When in all reality, like there's somebody who's all the way up here shitting on everyone. That everyone just pretends like, where's the shit coming from? Like, where's the shit coming from? Is it you piece of shit? Yeah, fuck you. And then keeps like, it's raining diarrhea, and then they just beat each other up underneath the diarrhea storm. Like, you all get it wrong. Like, go back to the olden days, right? As a dude, if you have lots of money and stuff, you don't really have to manifest the role of a dude, right? Go out and do some grunge, slave labor. You can bypass all of these, you know, societal hurdles that are put in front of you. Well, hurdles for the most part that are kind of designed to siphon your money from you, right? Like taxes and working a job and, you know, paying for gouged freaking items and stuff. And on the other hand, it's like, go back and you're a successful female in the olden days. You know, you still have to deal with the societal, you know, prejudices and stuff, but for the most part, like that's the determining factor in whether or not your life is yours, right? If we define oppression as in like you enslaving people and forcing them to do stuff for you, money's the what pulls you out of that. And acquiring money really doesn't always have too much to do with. Now, granted, if you look at this particular thing, like a lot of these women make lots of money off of their internet work, and it's, you know, as a dude, you're not as able to do something like that. So when it comes to these types of things, usually dudes have to like, they gotta find, say rustic? I don't know if it's a rustic, just other ways of monetization. And, you know, these various variables and these different demographics you fall underneath really do affect certain opportunities and the trajectory of certain things and yada yada. But I don't think it's enough to really blanket statement say, these people have it worse than these people. At least, you know. Because it really just depends. Some people in this demographic have it way worse than some of these other people. All these people don't. Now, there may be, you know, based on time and place, right? If you go to freaking Israel, right? How their entire country's just designed to just strongly hate Palestinians. There's a higher chance that if you fall within that demographic in that, you know, part of the world, that, you know, you're going to deal with a higher frequency of mindless nonsense and bullshit, right? But I bet you there's still wealthy Palestinians. There's still people who are able to get past all of these, you know, monetarily speaking, all of these barriers and all of these oppressive measures put in place. It's very complex, right? You can't just sit down and just say that all these people are nerfed in this particular way. The thing is, sometimes you can say that, right? I mean, you go back and look at very particular parts of history, right? Anti-slavery in the antebellum South, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's really complex. But here are these scholars trying to understand, trying to articulate it for us laymen, us inferiors, us poor low-class peasants. Let's hear what they have to say more about whatever the crap they're talking about. Because I sort of just derailed and tried to go off in a bunch of different directions.
I shouldn't have to educate you, yet you've just asked me the same question. You've just asked, how were men oppressed? Shouldn't you know?
No, because that wasn't taught in school.
Ah, so isn't that interesting? Male oppression was never taught in school, but females' oppression was.
Okay. He plays within their argument, even though it's like, all oppression kind of, like, did you not learn about slavery? I mean, they didn't really go into proper detail, but slavery, that's oppression of both men and women. within a particular demographic of people in a time and place, right? Perfect example. They did teach that in school, kind of. America's very biased. So I didn't really learn about the nuances of, or the sheer extent of America's racism, right? Like how the police were, like, they were literally just there to, well, initially the police in America were designed to just wrangle up slaves and return them to their masters and shit. That's a perfect example, right? So you're both kind of right, but also you're both blithering fools.
Isn't that interesting? So who's really oppressed then?
Oh my God, Brian.
If
Brian. Oh my God, Brian.
if men's grievances throughout history are overlooked, who's the real one that's oppressed? Perhaps you don't even believe men are oppressed.
Don't, to be honest.
You don't?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
There's men.
Can you think of one? Give me one.
So many men literally kill all the time over domestic violence and domestic abuse to the point where.
That's irrelevant, but okay.
Okay.
That's just swap men with black people and say the exact same sentence over again. Like, what makes you better than the people that you're talking about who have been causing all of this oppression and stuff? Which, like, there is validity to that. But, like, what makes you better than them if you're just doing the same thing? Like, so because a bunch of people did a bunch of stuff and that's therefore my fault? Like, that's your, like, I've had that argument thrown at me so many goddamn times, right? I have to learn to conduct myself on behalf of the failings of other people I have nothing to do with. And a lot of people are coming from the place of, they're just reacting to the way that other people have treated other people who came before them. And they're using that as sort of like motivation to reinforce these prejudices. You just fight racism with racism? Is that how you solve it? Who told you to be it's like, it's crazy, the redirection. It just always boils down to money. But none of these people get it right. They all just think you can just... Like, who does oppression benefit? Like, the people who, like, have oppressed these other people? But for what reason? Is it just so at the end of the day you could just be like, huh, yeah, huh. Bitch knows her place, huh, in the kitchen, huh. Or is it, I enslave all these people so that I can make passive income off of their exploitation? I mean, sure, there's probably a little bit of the first thing, right? After acquiring the income from the exploitation, probably just going, inferiors, serves you right. Like, if you're not even defining the why. If you do that, you'd notice that everything points back towards, like, power and control and money. But they want to just boil it down to the most immediate thing within their vision. Because it makes it seemingly easier. It gives them some haphazard, emotionally satisfying way to explain all the stuff they've been through, the ways that they've been treated. Which, don't get me wrong, I guarantee you, like, everyone goes through prejudice, dude. I'm a brown American growing up in you know, crappy ass Connecticut, boring Connecticut, right? I was constantly, I still am, by friends, right? Constantly reminding my skin color, constantly having people are always making jokes related to this specific thing and only this specific thing, right? You notice it's always jokes about black people. Where are the jokes about them whiteys, huh? Oh, just specifically the demographic of people that has been historically viewed a specific way because of cultural values. Where, do you think that just came out of nowhere, you fucking idiot? No, someone told you to believe in this, and here you are reinforcing it because you're stupid. You're a stupid American. You don't know any better, right? Someone else told you to make all these specifically targeted, you know, jokes and such.
That happens. There's certainly violence, sure.
Yeah, there is a lot of violence against
But
women.
when you think of oppression, what is your definition of oppression?
I don't know really how to explain it, to be honest. But
I mean, you use the word, you ought to know how to define it if you just use the word.
Yeah, I just don't know exactly how to, like, why do you want me to explain that? That's what I'm getting.
Well, I mean, you've used a word, you ought to be able to...
Yeah, you're just putting me on the spot. You just want to embarrass me. And I'm to tell you this now, it's not going to happen, Brian.
This is intentional. I think he knew that this person was dumb, and he wanted to bring them on so they can get views. At whatever. I want to see what... that's interesting. It's sort of like watching characters on a TV show, right? Like, they all have their role, they all have their purpose, and they all have their ideas towards life that, like, their ridiculous ideas towards life that motivates the way that they interact. Brian, you're not gonna put me on the spot, Brian. Brian, I know what you're doing. Brian, it's not just at whatever.